Good morning, everybody. This is Paul with Torah Life Ministries, and I wanted to make a video about Jessica Simpson. She's an actress and a singer, and she just made a revelation about a book that she has coming out where she was sexually abused as a young girl and by a local family friend. When they stayed over the house, she slept in the bed with one of the young girls of this family. And she has revealed in her book and recently that she has many struggles and problems with alcohol and pain medication and other things like that. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because it's a very unspoken but a real reality. There are so many women coming out now in this Me Too movement about how they've been sexually abused by, in one way or another, by men in power. And now justification is finally coming. But for years, these women have kept silent about these things out of fear that these men in power would be victorious in a court battle or something, or people wouldn't believe them, or they'd be ashamed, or something else. And there's so many probably people that have not even come out and spoken about their situations, just out of many different emotions that come from something like this. And it's not just men, it's women. It's not just women, it's men also, believe it or not. And they're even more scared to come out because of the way society would look at them or something else. But in this case with Jessica Simpson, it's a different situation and brings a light to even something more serious. It's one terrible thing for a man in power to take advantage of a vulnerable woman, but for somebody, anybody, to take advantage of a child in this manner is extremely alarming and sad, and it's a reality because somebody who has a sick, evil, twisted mind and thinking of doing anything like this to another human being is going to look at ways not to suffer the consequences of it. And what I mean is it's a very dangerous thing, because if you get caught doing something like this, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble now than ever before in the history of man. You're in big trouble. And so the people that do this evil are going to look and search out their victims and try to find people that would not speak up. And they do a very thorough job at reading people and figuring it out. That's why these men in power are able to get away with this, because they just didn't do this to any woman. They do this to women that they know would have something to lose or gain or something. And plus, they get to know the person enough to know that these people wouldn't speak out or not. So there's a lot of thought put into what they do and the evilness they do. It's not only the act, it's the person that they target. And the dangerous thing is the children and the part of the children. And hearing Jessica Simpson's story just makes me want to get on here and make this video, because it's such a common thing that's being done today that people don't speak about. And in her case, it was done by a local family friend who was just another girl. I don't know how old the girl was, but it's apparently, she said it went on for 6 years. For 6 years, and she was afraid to speak up for 6 years. And this is just such a sad thing, and it's led to a life of her trying to find comfort in alcohol and pain medications and things like this. And there are so many women and just men and people in general today that are trying to find comfort at other places than from Yahweh. But it's a scary thing and a reality that, I'm not blaming the man and the family, but men have to be shepherds of their family, and men can't just let let me put it this way: you have to be pretty disconnected from your children for something like this to go on for 6 years and you not know what's happening. Even if the child doesn't speak up, you have to be disconnected to know that something's not wrong. And I don't want to make parents feel guilty in cases like this, but something going on for 6 years. And I look at the attitude of people in general, and the attitude of first of all, what we do is being shepherds of our family and not just sending our children off, whether it's anywhere, even in church. Oh, you go over there to your little youth group while we stay here, and you have no idea what's going on and who those people are with, or what those people are, what your children are watching or being told. I know every single one of my daughter's friends personally, and it's going to remain that way. And yeah, it's parents, we need to be shepherds of our family. Fathers, you need to be shepherds and know and be accountable for your children are and who they're with, especially at a young age. And yeah, there are things that can happen that even if we are being watchful, but to be blind to the fact is something we don't want to think about. But we have to have an open eye. We have to believe. We want to see the best in people, but we have to also be aware of the worst in people. We have to. And we got to be careful, especially if we're allowing our children to sleep somewhere overnight, somewhere else. We need to investigate the situation. And we need to be careful who we allow in our house, who to sleep over our house, and who to be around our children. And the same thing goes for, grown-ups, not just children. We need to be aware of what's going on in people's lives and who we're allowing around our families. And it's not just the physical person we're talking about. We're also talking about the TV and the TV programming and who we're allowing into our houses through that, and messaging and letting our family hear certain messages and believe certain things. And believing, making them feel bad about speaking up about certain things, or making them feel that this thing isn't a bad thing, or it's okay, it's something like this, but it's not okay. It's terrible 100% of the times. So we need to speak to our children about, having an open relationship with them where they're going to be able to speak up and feel comfortable speaking up regardless of what it is. But at the same time, we need to not set an example for our children where it's okay to run to alcohol or something else in cases of, for any reason at all, for any reason. And we have to set that example because they see what we're doing. And in her case, apparently in this book that she's coming out with, she was driving in a car one day, and I guess she was 12 years old. And she told her parents what happened. And the reaction from my parents was just horrible. The first thing her mother did was looked at the father and said, I told you, I knew something was going on, with her. I told you so, and it's your fault, and all this other stuff. But not, first of all, she knew, but she didn't do anything about it. She didn't question it or do anything about it. And second of all, that is not the response you're supposed to have. And the father's response was even worse. He didn't say a thing, she said. He didn't say a thing. He just stopped her. They just stopped going over there. After this went on for 6 years. He didn't expose the person. He didn't try to confront the person who knows who else she did this to. But he just didn't say anything. Kept silence about it. And this led her down this path of alcohol and pain medication and so on. So I think we need to look at the scriptures and what the scriptures say and how we're supposed to handle all situations. And by all means, if what she's saying is true, they did not handle it in any way in a scriptural way. And the scriptures talk all about children, innocent children, and there's so much that it speaks about children. And and I can only imagine the pain and the emotions that the parents were going through, as well, to allow something like this to happen and not notice it is a tough situation to be in as well. But what do you do when you find out? And I'm speaking to many of you right now because this is a reality. It's not just a Hollywood movie star story. This is a reality. This is happening every day. So I'm asking you all, men, to be shepherds of your families and to be accountable for where they are and who they're with at all times, and what they're watching at all times, and question them and talk to them about it. And even as something as innocent as going to a church or wherever you're going, you need to be accountable and know where your kids are and what they're being taught and what they're learning and so on. And, some people say, well, we can't lock them in a closet and not let them go out in the world. I understand, but, that's not an excuse. We need to be shepherds of our family and shepherd them the right way. It's very important. So if any of you are struggling with this idea, if you're somehow somebody who's been or is going through this right now, whether you're a woman, man, or child, I want you to speak up. I want you to speak up and seek out counsel for this. And if you're a parent of a child that's going through something like this, search the scriptures or speak to your, spiritual brother or sister about ways to handle this. Don't keep this quiet. Don't keep this inside. This isn't just something that needs to remain private within the family and quiet. This is something that needs to be talking about and exposed. The person that's guilty of whatever this is might need to be exposed so they don't do it again. So, again, this is a silent thing. This is a thing that people are embarrassed about, but it's happening. I know it's happening, and older women can speak up now and say, "Me too." But little children don't necessarily have that platform or that confidence to believe they have that choice. So we as parents and elders need to be their eyes and watch out for them. And be careful with what they're learning. Many of them don't think something's wrong by stuff like this happening. So we need to be careful what they're watching on TV and exposing themselves to on the computer, and by all means the hidden messages that are in all the Disney movies and everything else, and the craziness of little kids being taught things that they should never be taught. All these things are wrong and evil, and not of Scripture. And this is important. And it says in Proverbs 22:6, direct your children unto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. They will not leave it. So we need to understand this. We need to get this. We need to be careful about this. And so I wanted to make it aware to everybody, because this book is coming out next month in February, and I'm sure a lot more people are going to be talking about this. I believe, I'm not certain, but I believe her parents and her are confessed Christians. I'm not certain about that, but we need to be shepherds, men. Men, be shepherds and be the eyes for your family. All right. I pray nobody has to deal with this situation, but I want to let the reality know that it's happening and it's a real reality, and we need to address it immediately. So what I would want to recommend is parents speak to your children, letting them know that they can feel comfortable coming to you no matter what, and let them know that. And parents, don't let this go. Don't let this go to silence. If something is happening, you need to expose that person, and it can be done in a biblical way, but you don't have to do it with malicious, revengeful intent or anger. You could do it in a biblical way and try to help everyone involved. All right. So that is that's my topic right now I wanted to discuss, and I saw that in the news, and I saw what you had to say, so I just wanted to discuss it with you all. If you have comments or questions, please post them below, and just pray for one another. Thank you.